Hey there everyone, it's Kerry Jeffrey from Emotional Autoimmunity, and I'm having a day off today. I'm doing some admin stuff and doing some work towards a new online course that I'm making, and I was thinking about the subject of perfectionism because perfectionism is a huge issue in my life. I was very much raised with this criticism that you had to do things perfectly, and if you didn't do it perfectly, then it wasn't good enough. And even if you did get, the best mark or do things the right way, it still wasn't good enough. So perfectionism is something that I've really been challenged with in my life. And so actually doing this video is part of breaking that perfectionism thing, because normally when I do my videos, it's on my days when I'm working with clients and, I've got my hair done and I've got some makeup on and, I've just had a shower. And I really don't like wearing makeup unless it's for professional reasons. And this is my much preferred natural state. So wet hair, no makeup, just some lip balm on because I do get very dry lips. So one of the things that I talk to about with my clients where they most get stuck is that why can't I stick to whatever I'm doing? Why can't I stick to my healing diet? Why can't I seem to make any progress? Why can't I seem to commit to anything, right? And it's this perfectionism thing coming through. It's this, I can't do something just half-assed. It's got to be 100% perfect. So if I'm doing this diet, it's got to be every single thing perfect. And if I step off track for one tiny mouthful, well, then I've blown it. Like, I've blown it. I may as well give up. And that's usually followed by some very nasty self-sabotage. And we all know what that feels like, right? When you go out and you eat a whole lot of stuff that you know is going to make you feel bad. You can't seem to stop. You feel miserable physically and you feel miserable emotionally. And it's this whole perfectionism thing, right? It's this whole, we've got to do it this one way, this right way, and be 100% perfect all the time. And I think that there are correlations between those of us who get autoimmune conditions with those of us who tend to be these perfectionistic, high achievers, hold ourselves to this high standard, got to do it the right way. And this often leads to analysis paralysis. And in a very real sense, right, this chronic illness is a perfectionist's worst nightmare, right? Because there's no control. You can't, there's no real known things on how to fix it. There is no real fix for it. There's no certainty. There's no one way of doing it right? There's nothing you can measure yourself up against. And it can be really, really difficult. And one of the things that can stop you from progressing is that you fall into analysis paralysis, or the research trap. So it means that as a perfectionist, I need to know exactly what I'm doing. So therefore I must go out and research and research and research till I find the perfect thing, like the perfect thing that will be perfect for me and get me the perfect result. And so what happens is that you just continue being stuck in constant research, reading, going further into another rabbit hole, following the next, shiny object thing, which is, oh, that latest supplement, oh, that latest drug, oh, that latest thing that somebody said worked for them, or that latest treatment, right? So you never really settle on one thing. You just keep looking and looking and looking and looking for the perfect thing. And that stops you from getting in the way. So I've got lots of hair loss happening at the moment. I'm hopeful that it's just because there's lots of new hair coming through, but at the moment I am shedding like a cat. So there is hair falling on my face and hair falling on my clothes. So that's another perfectionist thing, right? An anxiety producing thing, because when I first got Hashimoto's, I lost, over 60% of my hair through diffuse hair loss. So I have this real anxiety about hair loss and seeing hair in the comb or hair on my clothes, but I've got to manage that, right? Okay, I can see if I look at the top of my head that there's lots of new hairs coming through. So I've just got to manage that anxiety. Anyway, I digress. This whole perfectionism thing will stop you from progressing. And the cure for a recovering perfectionist is to stop and choose one thing, right? Just one thing. And then do it as best you can, understanding that this is a new thing, and like any new thing, you are not going to get it right. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to slip and fall. As I always say to my clients, like when you were a baby and you were first starting to walk and you kept falling down, would your mother have said to you, "Oh, that's ridiculous. You just give it up. You're never going to walk." Like, falling is part of the process of learning to walk. Falling and failure is part of it. Failure is learning. There is no perfect. So it's to stop looking for this perfect way. Just change one thing and see how you feel, understanding that when it comes to chronic illness, there is no perfect, right? There is no one perfect way to do it. There are people that use things like AIP that I have used, and that works for me, right? And I'm still tweaking that. I will never stop tweaking that. I'm always trying to improve how I feel. There are people who get fantastic results just giving up gluten, right? That one thing. There are people that get fantastic results just giving up sugar. There are people that get great results and relief just by shifting to natural foods, so no processed foods. There's a whole lot of different ways that you can go, and you can start off small, and when you get to that next level, you might think, right, I've stopped eating gluten, now I might start giving up dairy, or I might try giving up sugar. Just play with it, right? There is no perfect. You are never going to find a perfect solution to whatever chronic illness that you have. And being stuck in that perfectionism trap is going to keep you stuck. You will sit there feeling symptomatic, feeling miserable, with no energy, thinking to yourself all the time, I should be doing something. I should be changing my diet. I should be moving forward. I should be trying that, right? And that just creates more guilt, because there is no positive connotation to a should. You've got to make it a choice. And when you make your choice, keep it as a choice. One of the biggest things that most helped me when I started making all of the changes that I've made to my life, and honestly, I'm going to list them out one day, because even I'm shocked at how many different things I've changed and how many things I've chosen to not have again. I never said to myself that I can never eat gluten. Never. Because when you say never, it triggers that inner defiance. It triggers that feeling of deprivation, right? So when you say, that's it, I'm giving up gluten, I can never eat gluten again, immediately you are going to put yourself in a corner. You're going to need to push yourself forward by sheer willpower alone, and that is not lasting, right? I always said to myself, you know what? I could choose to eat gluten. And I've only in the last year actually made my house a gluten-free home. Prior to that, I wanted to have the foods and the breads and things that my son enjoyed, so I kept it in the house. But it just wasn't working for me, because he's not as good at looking after me as I am. So there was way too many opportunities for me to get cross-contamination with the gluten. So there was gluten in the house. There was bread, biscuits, cake, all of that sort of stuff in the house. There was dairy in the house, and that was another thing that I chose to give up. So I said to myself, you know what? I could right now go downstairs. I could whip out the peanut butter, get out the nice soft white bread, make myself a peanut butter sandwich, and I will suffer the consequences of that. I will. I know, I will. I'm going to hurt. I'm going to be in a world of pain. And I choose not to do that. It's a choice, right? When you make something a choice, it puts you back in control. You've weighed up, you've evaluated, and you've thought, no, you know what? It's not worth it. Now, there are a lot of people who still get a good result and do occasionally indulge when they're on holiday, because they've weighed it up, right? They've said, okay, oh, it's my birthday, I want to have a piece of chocolate cake. I know I'm going to feel horrible for a few weeks, but the pleasure of having this chocolate cake and celebrating my birthday is worth it to me, right? So you've made a conscious choice. You're aware of what the consequences are going to be to you, and you're prepared to accept it. So if you're still stuck in analysis paralysis, if you're still in that perfectionism thing where, oh God, I can't do anything till I look right, or like me, I can't go on video unless I've got some makeup on, or any of that stuff that we tell ourselves, or I need to know the perfect thing that will give me, remission from this disease, or, get me doing what I want to do again. That's never going to happen. There is no perfect thing. There is no one way to do this. We're all different. You can have exactly the same disease and be completely different in experience to somebody else, because there's so many variables within our bodies. There's things going on that we'll never really understand. The important thing, do something, right? Make it a choice. Stop chasing the next shiny supplement promise, or the next green juice miracle, or the next, new protocol thing. Pick one thing, right? And if you're going to do one thing, where I recommend you start is choose not to eat gluten, because most of the research shows that gluten is an issue for pretty much everyone, and that gluten is heavily involved in the creation of leaky gut, and that leaky gut is probably the gateway to developing autoimmune conditions. Make it a choice, right? If you don't change something, nothing's going to change. If you don't do anything differently, you are going to remain the way that you are. There's a whole lot of factors to this whole chronic illness experience. Mindset is one of the biggest ones. That's why I work with it with all of my clients. Mindset is the most powerful. Give up that perfectionism thing. Make a start. Know you are going to fall down. Know you're not going to do it perfectly, because, doing something extremely well takes years and years and years and years of dedicated practice and consistency, and being willing to take risks and make mistakes. So choose one thing. No perfect. Make it a choice. Don't say I can never do that again. Say I could do that if I wanted to, but I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to give this a go. I'm choosing to see what's possible for me. And the last thing that I want to leave you with, this is something that I share with my clients as well, and this is the big mindset shift, or the biggest mind shift that helped me, was the realization that when I developed chronic illness at 55 years of age, and seeing the state that my body was in, and then thinking, oh my God, I have made the worst choices. I have had body image issues. I've been dieting since I was 9 years old. I've hated my body. I've abused my body. I used to smoke. I used to drink. I used to do a whole lot of things. I just didn't look after my body. I didn't like it. I didn't respect it. I hated the shape it was, the weight it was, all of those things. And when I realized that my body was dealing with these profoundly dangerous diseases in the state that I was, and that it could, despite all of my lack of care and concern and compassion and even trying to look after it, it kept me going like for 55 years. If it can do that, what can I actually do if I look after it? Like, what can my body actually do if I give it really good nutritious food, and I increase my water intake, and I go to bed at a good time, and I really focus on my sleep, and I really work on my stress, and I look at the toxic relationships in my life, and I look at the boundaries that need to be set, and I put myself first. Like, if my body can do all of that, what could it really do if I gave it an opportunity? And that excited me, right? That gave me hope. I could see so much potential in that. And I am still delighted and amazed at what my body is doing 5 years later, that every single year I can see a new level and something that I've gotten back that I didn't think that I would give back. So perfectionists, it's time to change that, all right? There's no perfect in chronic illness. There can't be any perfect. There's no perfect cure. There's no perfect protocol. There's no perfect supplement. There's no perfect anything. And if you feel really stuck in this perfectionism thing and you really feel that you need some help and support and you really need to get some good mind shift tools, or you've got trauma, or you've got anxiety, or you've got depression and you can't do it on your own, because most of us can't, right? I need help. Everybody needs help. Book in your free discovery session with me. You can do that directly from this page, or you can go over to my website at emotionalautoimmunity.com. Book your free discovery session with me. It's 25 minutes. We just have a chat. I listen to what your challenges are. I tell you if I think I can help you. If I believe that I can help you, I'll tell you which of my programs is going to get the best result for you. I'll explain exactly how much it is in Australian dollars and what the payment options are. Then I invite you to go away, take a week and think about it. I email you all the information, and if you decide you want to work with me, you just email back and say, right, let's get started. And once I email you, I don't follow up anymore, all right? This is your choice. It's an investment in you. I want you to feel that this is the next step. So I hope that's been useful. I'm going to go and let my hair dry and make myself a cuppa and get some admin stuff done. Okay, bye for now.